All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. With the start of a new college football season right around the corner, how will things work out for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? Now, you look back to last season, and of course, things did not start the way that Notre Dame expected. They lost their first two games of the season. And of course, you give them the benefit of the doubt for going to Columbus and losing to Ohio State. But then the following week, Notre Dame lost at home, surprisingly, to Marshall. However, after that, Notre Dame would win nine out of their last 11 games. And then you look at those contests, the 2 point loss at home to Stanford, and then they went to the Coliseum out in LA to end their regular season, and they gave USC a run for their money. And then, of course, we saw Notre Dame win their bowl game. Now, with that said, when you think about Notre Dame, the expectations are always high. They're still a football independent, and they're hanging tough as a football independent through all of this constant realignment, if you will, in the world of college football. But for head coach Marcus Freeman, he is set to begin his second season in South Bend. Some new additions and some key losses. But what can we expect from Notre Dame here in 2023? Now, of course, after so many years being affiliated with the Notre Dame family, Tommy Rees is no longer the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, as he surprisingly took the Alabama job over the offseason. So in steps Gerard Parker. And Parker does have previous experience as an OC. He was the old offensive coordinator a couple of years ago at West Virginia before joining Freeman's staff at Notre Dame. And now he's going to be doing the play calling. In steps Sam Hartman at quarterback for the Irish. And of course, the former Wake Forest star was one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC when he was on the field. So it's going to be a transition process to see how Notre Dame can adjust to Hartman, Hartman can adjust to Notre Dame, and so forth. But if Notre Dame is getting the Sam Hartman that we saw a couple of years ago, I think this guy is poised to tear it up this year. You got talent around him, especially with junior running back Audric Estime, and this is going to give him some balance on offense because if the Irish can run the football and protect Sam Hartman, I think this kid is definitely going to be in the mix to have a big season. You look at the defense, you have middle linebacker JT Bertrand, and then also sophomore cornerback Benjamin Morrison had 6 picks last year. So, of course, you always want to see if somebody's going to be able to avoid that sophomore jinx, if you will. Notre Dame has 9 starters on defense that are either seniors or grad transfers, and that's going to account for something because obviously you have that experience. I'll tell you like this: I don't see Notre Dame getting off to a slow start this season like they did last year. They're going to begin their season in about 2.5 weeks over in Ireland as they're going to take on Navy. Navy's obviously not Ohio State. They then come back home for their home opener against Tennessee State. Uh, so those are two very winnable games right there for Notre Dame because they're going to be heavily favored in both of those contests. You look to September 9th. This is going to be Notre Dame's first official road game of the season when they travel to Raleigh to take on NC State. And NC State is always, and I mean always, a tricky team, especially when you got to go to Raleigh and face them. They got Central Michigan at home the following week before they host Ohio State on the 23rd of September. That's scheduled to be a night game as well. So I guarantee you that the folks from Columbus always travel. They will definitely be coming to South Bend for that game. Then you look ahead to the 14th of October when Notre Dame hosts USC, another night game. They're off before taking on Pitt at home on the 28th of October. And then that month of November could be tricky. Notre Dame's at Clemson on the 4th of November. And this is a Clemson team that came to South Bend last year undefeated before Notre Dame took them away from the ranks of the unbeaten. The Irish are then off before they host Wake Forest on the 18th of November. And I guarantee you that Sam Hartman has that game circled on his calendar, but also Wake Forest has that game circled on their calendar as well. And then finally, the Irish will travel out to the West Coast Thanksgiving weekend to take on Stanford. So I'm looking at this schedule for Notre Dame, and I'm looking at this team that Notre Dame has. And in my opinion, I do believe that 9-3 is very realistic for this team. If the Irish could make it 10 and 2 or better, you're talking about a team that's definitely going to get into the New Year's Six. And of course, if Notre Dame can make it 11-1 or even 12-0, obviously you're talking about the Irish as a playoff team. I will say this: 9-3 might get them into the New Year's Six. 10-2 definitely will because it's Notre Dame. But nonetheless, I think a 9-win season should put the Irish in the mix to have one of the better bowl games. Maybe not a New Year's Six bowl game, but definitely one of the better ones. But definitely 10 wins would definitely solidify it. The expectations are always high at Notre Dame. I do not believe that this is a playoff team this year, but nonetheless, I think Notre Dame will be exciting to watch. Things got started on the wrong foot last year for Marcus Freeman, but you don't understand character or you don't find out who somebody is when things are going well. You find out who somebody is when things are going bad. Credit to Marcus Freeman and his staff. They never wavered from their game plan last year after the 0-2 start. Honestly, it got them better. It brought them together and they played better throughout the season. And I do believe some of that will carry over to this season for Notre Dame, as I do expect them to be ranked in the top 25 all season long. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.